Hello and welcome to this week's GG Weekend Watch, kindly sponsored by SBK as usual, with your regular team back reunited together again. Daryl Carter has rejoined Andrew Mount and myself. But for you viewers out there, you may not realise we actually have already been reunited this week at the Derby Awards on Monday. Fair to say we all enjoyed ourselves, didn't we, lads?
We did indeed, and it's a good job recording this on Thursday, not Wednesday, because Daryl's only just made bail. And
exactly, all nicely recovered now though, and set to give you some winners, which will hopefully mean we get invited back again next year anyway, because I say this is sort of the day job as to why we get invited to those things and get to enjoy those evenings. But we're fully recovered, we're back together, looking forward to the weekend. We have action at Cheltenham and Doncaster to get our teeth stuck into. So we will begin then with the 150 at Cheltenham. This is the newly named for this year Racing Post Gold Cup Handicap Chase, which is a grade 3 handicap for 4-year-olds and over 4 miles and half a furlong, which looks a wide open contest as per usual for this race, with Sapage is heading the weights. Layla is the current favourite though at the time of recording. We have the Paddy Power Gold Cup winner here as well in Midnight Shadow, as well as Fusel Raffles. So plenty of angles to take into this, Daryl. Would you like to kick us off here, please?
Yeah, this is quite difficult. I thought it was quite difficult. I could make cases for loads of these horses in here. Dostal, not so much later, but Dostal, Phil, Silver Hallmark, Midnight Shadow even was idling, I thought, at the front in the Paddy Power, so he could have a bit more up his sleeve. Called Cody Fusel Raffles has got a massive chance, I think. He's probably going to be one of the two up back. But the main selection in here is going to be the horse I part for the Paddy Power. It's going to be Deyrann the Carjac. Like I say, I put him up the other week for the Paddy Power. I thought he was given far too much to do on the old course in a race which really favoured those ridden prominently that day. I mean, if you go back and watch the race, he's coming down the hill. He's about 22 lengths off the front of the field. But from 3 out to the finish line, he's actually ran faster than Protectorat. He's ran faster than Layla, much faster than Layla. And a couple of others as well. He stayed on really nicely from the rear of the field there. That was almost a career best. Well, it pretty much was a career best effort from Deyrann the Carjac. I think switching over to this new course today, I think this is going to be a bit more of a stamina test for him, which will suit. Not so much emphasis on speed. Hold up horses tend to do better on this sort of on this track. I just thought he's been dropped £4 for that run, and it was pretty much a career best effort. That came off the back of a break. I'm just slightly concerned about the ground for him. Now we've got a little bit of rain due, I think, on Saturday. That's towards the end of Saturday, but you know what it's like. It could creep forward. Yeah. I'd worry if there was a deluge for him. But I think he's got a massive chance. You go back to some of his runs from last season, like I mentioned the other week. He's like £21 better off of Midnight Shadow for a 2-length defeat. The last time he ran on this course was off 145 in the brown plate at the festival. He's 14 to 1 shot there, finished lame. He's off 133. He is the horse in the field for me. I think who could have £10 in hand. Like I say, I can give chances to nearly all of these in this field. Fusel Raffles, everyone that we've just mentioned. But he's the one I want to side with. I think he was 50 to 1 this morning. He's not around 35 to 1 now. I've had a bit on him out in post, so hopefully he does run. The rain doesn't come. But I think he's got a big shout. Like I say, can make cases for a lot of other runners. Couldn't put you off most of the field, to be quite honest with you. But I have a couple of quid on Deyrann the Carjac at a big price.
Yeah, you say at a massive price. Opened up at 50s, and then Daryl's money came in, and he's now down to about 33s or 28s. I can see there, but I think you can get 40 still in some place at the time of recording. So yeah, Deyrann the Carjac, huge price, and one of the forgotten horses from that Paddy Power Gold Cup, probably, with lots of people trying to side with that angle then into this competitive grade 3 handicap at Cheltenham. So huge play then in the first race for Daryl. Andrew, yourself please for this race.
Yeah, just apologies in advance if you hear howling. It's my cat trying to get into my office and scratching at the door. Yeah, this was incredibly tricky, as Daryl said, and yeah, your nap's going, Kate. Midnight Shadow. I'm sure you'll have something to say about that. Last time, I said you nap for the Paddy Power Gold Cup, of course, when you went there at a good price. I mean, there's so many you could choose from. Daryl's made a great case for the Alan King horse. I'm going to side with Joke Dancer, which is a horse we've mentioned on this podcast previously. Same colours as Midnight Shadow and stablemate as well. And we talked about him saying that prior to his last run when he fell, and said that he's a horse who's got a really good record third time out. And 3 of the last 4 seasons, he's won at the third time of asking. And when he didn't win third time out, it was when he didn't come in till late. And he was probably ready to go first time up and won on his reappearance. And then his third start of the campaign came at in a big race at Interne in the spring, and he just finished down the field. So I thought it was interesting that they were running 2 in here, despite the obvious claims of Midnight Shadow, who's around about 9-1. Joke Dancer, I've seen 40-1. So given that good third time out record, I thought at the prices, I just had to have a small each way interest on him. But it wasn't a race that I was particularly confident about for obvious reasons.
Yes, I think that is very fair. But interesting there, another big play then for Joke Dancer, who's another one that's 40-1, being backed into 28-1 as well. So for lads coming in with the big hitters straight away, then with big price selections for our opening race. But it is very, very tricky. And this is one of my 2 bets of the day that I've gone into so far in this race, because I can't resist. But the more I went into this, the more questions I then had to answer and the more angles. And as you said, Daryl, you cannot put anyone off of any one of these horses in this race. So it's going to make a fantastic spectacle. But as I said, I went through my usual trends then of the last 5 years of this race. No horse in this came out with them all in their favour, not even close. So I then had to delve a little bit deeper into each of these horses' form. And again, I was going round and round in circles with all of these, but I eventually came down on a couple. My main selection for this race, though, is going to be Midnight Shadow. He is going to have to join an illustrious, very small list of horses who have managed to do the double here. But that's why I'm so happy, Daryl, when you gave him a favourable mention first time up then, to hopefully at least feature there again. And you're getting an each way price about him, even if he's not quite good enough to do the double. But it's known that it's, as I say, not the done thing to win both of these, but it's also the form line to follow from the November Grade 3 handicap into this race, which exactly he has, and obviously he won it. And then it's just he's still an 8-year-old running in the Paddy Power Gold Cup to this race, as I say, is a positive, especially to run well in it. Cannot be denied with him because he won the race. He's had a month now to recover, so hopefully he will implement his prominent running style again. He's a course and distance winner prior in the Grade 2 Dipper in January 2020. I am concerned about the rise and the fact that the trends don't favour horses, as I say, bidding for the double, but I'm still expecting a solid run from him at an each way price all the same. And as I say, I did think he was dossing in the finish. Form has worked out brilliantly so far. So Midnight Shadow, but a saver on the other one you mentioned, Daryl, Infusor Raffles.
Yeah, I've got to back him at all.
You have to back him at an each way price in this, surely.
Is it concerning that he's 10-1? Like, that's massive, isn't it? Really?
I don't know. What do you think that's a reflection of? Do you think that's just a reflection of people overlooking his Charlie Hall win, or?
Yeah, I think they think that he was fortunate to win the Charlie Hall.
I mean, he was, but
yes, he was, but that was over 3 miles. This is back over 2.5.
Yeah.
This is back at Cheltenham where he runs so well. That's second in the Marsh behind Chantry House. I mean, you look at that piece of form. Asterion Fallon looked like he was going to win the John Durkin on Sunday. He's rated 164. Chantry House 164. He's running there off 152. He's only a 6-year-old. Like we say, he loves Cheltenham. The ground, just a weather watch for him would be the slight concern, I suppose. But I think he's a massive prize. He feels like he's been around forever, doesn't he? Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder. He feels like he's been around forever, but he's got a massive chance. He's got to be the other one I back also, just to throw my 2 pence in.
Yeah, same. I'm throwing my 2 pence in on Fusel Raffles as well as my saver should Midnight Shadow not do the double, because they say he just has so much in his favour. I can't believe he's only a 6-year-old. I still think he's very well treated. And as you say, this trip will suit him far, far better. And he loves his course and distance. So, yeah, Fusel Raffles. And but main selection then on Midnight Shadow, who didn't let me down last time out in that race for me. So we move on to the 225. This is now the Grade 2 Albert Bartlett novices hurdle over 3 miles for 4-year-olds and over, with just the 6 declared runners. But this is our first graded novice hurdle over 3 miles in this country for us to really get a proper good look at our leading staying novice hurdlers against each other over this testing trip. So interesting races. Andrew, who do you side with?
Yeah, I've tried to make a case for some of the bigger priced horses. I mean, we've had a couple of minor shocks in this race in the last 2 years, 12-1 and 14-1. But I just kept coming back to the Hyde Novices hurdle form, the graded contest over 2-5 here last month, when Blazing Khan beat Gelino Bello with Current Mood back in third. And I'm struggling to find reasons why the second and third are going to reverse the form. And at the head of the market, Blazing Khan 6-4, Gelino Bello 7-4. I thought, of the pair, 6-4 was a fair price about Blazing Khal, given the form here and given the fact that with rain and snow forecast, as Daryl mentioned earlier on, it could be a lot softer than it was at the Paddy Power meeting. So I'll be very boring. Go with the favourite, Blazing Khal, to confirm last month's form with the second favourite.
Yeah, tricky to see that really being turned around, isn't it? And that 6-4 at the head of the market. Fascinating. He's coming back over here. Daryl, yourself, please.
Yeah, this is a woeful race, isn't it? That Blazing Cow race, when they met last time at the Paddy Power meeting, they were 16 lengths behind the back marker of the handicap field at the fifth point, and they were still 4 lengths behind the rear of the handicap field at 3 out. So it wasn't a. I mean, they've got ratings of 140, 145. I've seen people talking about Blazing Cow for the Albert Bartlett. I mean, I don't know about that, but. The issue is I couldn't really find anything to take them on with. I didn't really think much of the rest of the field, to be quite honest. Loughderg, Rocco, perhaps. I thought that was a good performance at Newcastle behind Mr. Glass. That was a career best for him. But you're really guessing as to what to expect from this horse. His point form is pretty worthless. But he's shaped quite nicely. He could run close, I suppose. It's not a betting race for me. This is disgusting.
Yeah. Honestly, just be honest, Daryl. That's what we like from you, is pure honesty, and you never fail to deliver. So yes, not the most enticing betting proposition, but as you say, that if you wanted to back the outsider, Daryl isn't putting you off there of Loughderg Rocco around 20-1. So we'll swiftly move on to the 3 o'clock then at Cheltenham. This is the feature race on Saturday, which is the Grade 2 International Hurdle over 2.5 miles furlong. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but this race just seems to have lost its place a little bit in the calendar. The Fighting Fifth just 2 weeks prior, the Christmas Hurdle 2 weeks later. So you're realistically not going to do all three if you have a live champion hurdle contender. So this Grade 2 it's just sort of lost its place really amongst the top 2 mile hurdlers. But nonetheless, we still have an interesting contest here if taken just as a standalone race, with the wonderful So Royal in here, Song for Someone bidding to win this race for the second year running, and Ballyadam returning to hurdles as well. So, Daryl, how do you assess this race?
They should turn this into a 2 mile handicap, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they actually should. They
should. I don't think there's one on the card, is there? I like Heaven Help Us at a double figure price. Now, I don't think Song for Someone. I know he won this race last year, but I don't think he's at his best over 2 miles. I think he wants 2.5. So Royale, I'd be worried if the ground turns by this time at 3 o'clock. This is like the height of when the monsoon's coming in or whatever it is. That would just concern me. I do think he was better than the better result in this race last year, though. They took out 3 hurdles because of low sun last year. So I think he would be closer to Song for Someone. I'm just not sure. It's 3 hard races in a row. It was only 14 days ago in the 45th. The ground turns. I don't think his chances are enhanced. Ballyadam can't jump for me. Guard Your Dreams, I think, is better over 2.5. I don't think he'd have the speed for this. Heaven Help Us, I think it might be the one. 11-1 shot. Was running at Punchestown last time behind Dusart Diamond. They was going a really, really good clip as well. They was doing a really good time figure. And then she just headbutted the floor. She actually jumped the hurdle and she pecked on land. She didn't headbutt the floor. Yeah. But, and she just lost all chance. She just didn't have couldn't get back into the race. I mean, at the pace they were going, she was never going to. So I think you can forgive that. The run prior to that came in Punchestown in the Champion Stayers Hurdle over 3 miles. So I don't think she gets 3 miles at all. Prior to that, she won the Coral Cup over 2 mile 5 by 9 lengths. It was a devastating performance. She won that off 138. She's rated 150 over here, but on the weight adjusted ratings, she actually comes out on top. She loves Cheltenham. So if you go back and watch her Supreme run, she finished 7th, but she was really badly. I mean, the number of horses were badly hampered on that occasion, but she was travelling really nicely through that race at 100-1. She had absolutely no right really to be in the Supreme Novice Hurdle, but she was travelling really strongly. She's then gone over fences until February of this year, where she won off 126 over in Ireland. Won the Coral Cup, and then it's Grade 1 latest. I think she's completely unexposed. She won her maiden here as well at Cheltenham. She's just going to go from the front, and she's just going to play catch me if you can. Now, there's a slight concern, I guess, with Song for someone wanting to make the running, but he didn't make the running in this race last year. They just held off him a little bit. And I think that's because they think he sees out this 2 miles really strongly, so he doesn't need to. When he's over 2.5, he tends to make the running. I think she could get away on the front end, and I think she'll be very tough to beat, especially if conditions turn. She won't mind what the ground does, to be honest. 11 to 1. It's a shame we ain't got 8 runners. It's a win only bet, isn't it? But heaven help us, yeah. Let's have a bash at that.
Yeah, definitely. I really like that angle, though, of heaven help us. And as you say, that was an absolutely devastating win in the Coral Cup. If my friend Blue Sari had stood up then after the last, she still would have been a dominant winner. So I'm definitely not biased amongst that one. He was well beaten at the time. So yeah, that was really nice and from heaven help us, and hopefully to put that Cheltenham record to good use again here. Andrew, yourself.
Yeah, this is an after time alert. There's the A and the T. That's my special Madonna style way of saying after time. Now, I did a preview of this for the GG website last year at Tipped Up Song for Someone.
Nice.
When I looked into the stats, about 5-year-olds have got a fantastic record in this race. And another good angle as well is looking for last time out winners who won over hurdles within the last month. And this century, 10 from 21 qualify on that angle, plus £46.86 to a £1 level stake. Now, so you could back all the 5-year-olds in this race, regardless of what they did last time, and make a profit. We've got one 5-year-old, that's Guard Your Dreams, who ran a respectable third to Buzz at Ascot last time, over 2 miles, 3 and a bit. I think that was in perhaps the same race that Song for Someone ran in last year before going on to win this. And so I've bet Guard Your Dreams as the only 5-year-old. You look at his 2 mile form, and he's usually wins, let alone being thereabouts. So stiff 2 mile one, I thought that would suit him. And Hunter's Call, he's the only last time out winner in the 7-runner lineup. I say you could back them all and make a profit, particularly those who had a recent outing. He was back from impressive when he won on his return from wind surgery a month ago. He's 14 to 1, one of the outsiders. So Guard Your Dreams, 5 to 1, 11 to 2. Hunter's Call, 14 to 1. But Guard Your Dreams, the one if I had to have just one pick in the race.
Yeah, so just favouring Guard Your Dreams for the 5-year-old angle, but to mention there for the last time out winner angle then for the 11-year-old of Hunter's Call. So yeah, good couple of mentions there, but both lads taking on the front 3 in the market as well in this race. Such is the nature of the feature of the day. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see nonetheless exactly how that plays out. Now, Andrew, I'm going to come to you first for this one. So hopefully you've got the cat in. You've let the cat in. As
she's been in. She's had a good look around, put a scent everywhere while I left the door open for her. Now she's cleared off again. So
just to let a nice breathe and just to keep you cool.
Oh, yeah.
Standard cat behaviour.
Sounds like my business.
The aircon's going up again.
Absolute cat housery, that is. That was just, yes, that's typical of them. I've locked mine out. I can't be dealing with them anymore. So we'll move on to the 3:35 at Cheltenham. We sign up our Cheltenham races with their last race of the day. This is a mare's handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 4, where I actually have my second bet of the day in this race. The market has sort of fluctuated all over the place, but the one who I do like is Wynn House. Again, she fits all the trends in this race for me. She's a 6-year-old, arguably rated a little bit lower than I'd ideally have liked for this race on a mark of 125. However, this is her second start of the season, which is a positive. And she was a winner last time out, which was also a positive. And she was a good winner last time out at Wincanton at the expense of her stablemate and Rose of Arcadia, who probably just did a little bit too soon, admittedly. However, I still think that's a strong form line to follow. And Wynn House can continue her improvement. But Andrew, back to you, please, for this tricky race to solve.
Yeah, very tricky, as you say. I thought Indefatigable could bounce back from that disappointment last time. I mean, she was flattered when winning at Wetherby because she was only one of 2 to race wide round the outside, the other one being Prashima, who was also beaten next time out. But this is, a big drop in grades. And you look through her career, she often bounces back from a defeat to win next time out. But the one I was going to side with was Martello Sky, though, who was very impressive at Market Race and ran into a good race at Aintree last time out. And I thought, given the sort of the pace likely in this race and the fact that we've seen so many times, at this meeting, and indeed the old course at Cheltenham as well, that coming wide round the outside is often the place to be. She's a hold-up performer, and I'll just take her for last year's winning yard, but she's a tentative pick. That's Martello Sky.
Yes, that was, I'm slightly annoyed you've given her the mention. She was the biggest danger, and I'm really wary of Martello Sky. So, not ideal. Daryl, please don't give her another mention.
No, I like Indefatigable. I thought that was too bad to be true at Newbury last time.
Yeah.
I was quite willing to forgive her that. Yeah, she was probably flattered at Weatherby. I think this trip, though, 2.5, a decently run 2.5 miles. Like Andrew said, she drops back, big drop back in grade here. She's down to a mark of 145, the same mark she won the Martin Popoff in 2020. Her only other run here, only other run at Cheltenham, she was 4th in the Mayor's Hurdle. Roxana's the only horse to have done better than her in that contest. I just don't think this is a strong race whatsoever, to be quite honest. I think she loves Cheltenham. The ground will be fine. Drops in grade on a fair handicap mark. Needs to bounce back for last time, but I think the market's overreacted on that performance at Newbury last time. I think she's miles the best horse in this.
Oh, really? That is a confident. Well, to be fair, I say really. It's probably actually not disputed. She is the best mare in this race, and certainly on official ratings as well, to hopefully bounce back to form then for Daryl. So, Daryl, back to you, please, for anything else from Cheltenham.
No.
Fair. Andrew, yourself, please.
Yeah, in the 12.05, I like Interne to Sivola, the Nick Williams horse, who finished a respectable third on his debut at Warwick. I thought he'd improve for that. And in the 1:15, which is a race I had a really good look at because I mistakenly thought it was part of the televised races. This is the 2-mile handicap chase. You've got Editor de Guy, who run one gamely from the Frontier last time out. Excuse me, but in that race, BUN DORAN finished third at 14-1, and BUN DORAN's a fantastic horse at this time of year. He's had 12 runs in November or December. He's won 4 of them. He's been in the frame on 6 occasions. The only 2 out of the frame efforts, 5th and 7th, I think both came in the Holden Gold Cup, albeit a handicap, a Grade 2 one. And I just thought BUN DORAN, there's going to be a lot of pace in this race again. And he's just going to stay on and pick up the pieces and probably get a place at a double-figure price. So BUN DORAN place only. Cheltenham worth a mention. He'll appreciate the strong gallop and going left-handed again, and he is 5 from 10 in his career. And sometimes in these sort of races, you just want to look at the career strike rate of horses rather than what they've done the last couple of starts. And Amula Gold I was against because 4 of his top 5 Racing Post ratings have come at Ascot. I wasn't sure he's going to be suited by this track. He's the 7-2 second favourite. So if you can rule him out, which I think you can, then you've got value elsewhere.
Yeah, you do, and Cheltenham then, but then for a place bet for BUN DORAN, because he's always a horse that, well, nowadays I think he wants further than 2 miles, but when, as you say, it's at Cheltenham and he has a good pace to aim at, a really strong pace to aim at, then to bring that stamina into play, then they should be all variables in his favour running over 2 miles then again. So, yeah, nice mention for Bun Bun. Right, we will move on to Doncaster, his cute little nickname. But we'll move to Doncaster then, and we start way down the card in the 2:05. And we begin with a tricky handicap hurdle for 3-year-olds and over 2.5 miles a furlong, where it's a tricky opener at Doncaster for you guys. So, Andrew, back to you. Please solve this race for us.
Yeah, take it easy, Kate.
I will try.
That's not general advice. This is Pump Slice horse, who was a favourite for that one for the road race at Huntingdon last time out, and the front runner never came back, and of course one for the road, followed that up with a win at Newbury, seeing off Soaring Glory among others. The third in that race, Ingleby Hollows, come out and won since. The form just looks rock solid, really. So I thought Take It Easy at 5-1 was very much overpriced and could end up being clear favourite for this race. So I was very keen on him.
Yeah, going for Pam Sly again there. Take It Easy. Around 5-1 shots from what I can see for that. For Take It Easy there in the 2:05 at Doncaster for Andrew. Daryl, please. Once he's done fiddling with the camera, then we'll head back to Daryl if he can still hear us. Oh no,
Daryl, come in,
we've
Daryl.
lost him. Maybe give it a kick and it might work better. Right,
Well,
we may have to
Daryl
let
on the
Daryl.
camera.
We may have to let Daryl adjust that and come back to us. So for the time being, we'll backdate Daryl then for the 205 and we'll move on to the next race. Just feels like last week all over again, Andrew. Just the pair of us.
Yeah, that's right. It's been empty chaired again, hasn't it?
Exactly. So we'll move on to the 240 at Doncaster. This is now the turn of the juveniles in the Grade 2 Summit Juvenile Hurdle for 3-year-olds over 2 miles and half a furlong again, where 3 of these runners are putting their unbeaten hurdle records on the line. So, Andrew, how do you sort through these juveniles, please?
Yeah, with difficulty, I think is the answer. I mean, the market's been all over the shop for this one as well. I mean, Night Salute was 7-2 out to 7s, back into 5s. Porticello 11-8 out to 11-4, back into 2s. 2 Friendly, 4s out to 7s. I thought Night Salute, although unbeaten, might have been flattered by the Cheltenham win last time because he raced wide. So I was just looking at the stats for this race, and 8 of the last 10 winners had won on their latest start. The 2 hadn't finished second. And although it was on the flat when he finished second last time out, very narrowly, that was something that drew me towards KOLISI, making his hurdles debut for David Pipe, having been with William Haggis. He was just chinned here on soft ground on the flat last time, when racing closer to the early pace than ideal. Doncaster's round course on the flat massively favours hold-up horses, and he only got done by his shorter price stablemate, Titian. So I thought, although KOLISI is 28-1 and he's yet to run over hurdles, looking at the speed figures he achieved on the flat, I thought at the prices, in a tricky race, he was probably worth just a speculative interest to make a winning start at the hurdles.
Yes, very speculative then, at 25-1, but a good case made nonetheless in that tricky juvenile contest. And Daryl, we have you back now, so yes. I'll quickly get your vote for the juveniles, because I know how much you love the British juvenile division this season, and then we'll backdate it back to the 205. So the 240 up first, please, for these juveniles.
Yeah, I like 2 Friendly, but just a word of warning to those who want to go and rush off and back something anti-post for Cheltenham, right? The highest RPR in this race today has been earned by Porticello in France of 122. The highest RPR run in Britain of all these horses is 116. That was run by Magistrato and Impulsive One. Now, the lowest RPR in the last 10 years of this particular race, recorded by the winner, is 118, and that was run by Royal Bonsai 10 years ago. He was beaten 20 lengths in the Fred Winter off a handicap mark of 126. The highest recorded winner in this race recorded an RPR of 148. That was Peace & Co. when he won and then he went on and won the Triumph after this race. The average recorded is 132.3. I just want to put that out there because it's very important that you need to see the level that our juveniles are actually at compared to the average in the last 10 years. So most of these horses in here, or all of these horses in here, will have to improve 15 pounds to get to the average Racing Post rating recorded in this race in the last 10 years. So 5 of the last 10 winners have gone on to run at the Cheltenham Festival. Other than Peace & Co, we've got Navajo Pass was 4th at Cheltenham, recorded an RPR of 131 in this race. Kel Destan 5th at Cheltenham, 125 in this race. Kashmir Peak was 12th at Cheltenham, recorded 129 in this race. Royal Bonsai 14th, recorded 118 in this race. So just wait before you go and back anything anti-post after this, even if something puts in a decent performance, because if they've got an RPR of this race below 130, they're going to struggle at the Cheltenham Festival. So it doesn't matter if they're going to win by 10 lengths or not. They're very impressive. Just hold on until you see those RPR ratings, because it really does tie in through years and years of the Triumph Hurdle and the Fred Winter. But anyway, the winner of the race hopefully is 2 Friendly. I thought he was really, really keen at Newcastle last time behind Twilight Twist. It was a very slowly run race. He just wouldn't settle under Bridget Andrews, but when he loomed up at 2 out, he just took off. He finished a little bit tired, not surprisingly, because he literally pulled for his head the whole way round. But he took off. I thought that was one of the more interesting form lines in this race. Night Salute, for me, like Andrew, I thought he was flattered. I'm surprised he's as big as 5-1 for this, but I thought he was flattered last time at Cheltenham. I thought 2 Friendly just might be a better long-term project than the likes of Night Salute. So I would give him a shout. Porticello is obviously open to further improvement. They all are open to further improvement, but in terms of where we are, our juveniles compared to those of Ireland, wait for those RPRs and whatever wins this race, because it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. So let's say word of warning then from Daryl not to get too stuck into any anti-post markets on the back of this, unless something really does post a significant performance and significantly improves on what they've shown so far, because they're going to have to post the RPR needed for the triumph going forwards. But Daryl likes too friendly there. Now, Daryl, I did say that the opening race we were covering at Doncaster was a tricky one. I know you've tried your best to get out of giving a tip for this race. However, you haven't escaped it. So you may come back to the 205 at Doncaster and come up with a tip.
I was hoping I didn't have to.
I don't blame you for not wanting to.
There's no betting it for me, but if you wanted an interest, I thought Lucky One was interesting. Dropped down to a handicap mark of 137. Switched over to Dan Skelton from Paul Nicholls. Can be really keen. So first time out is going to be a slight concern, but I do think that this horse wants gaps between his races. I think he needs significant time to recover for whatever reason. But they obviously thought something of him. He's been thrown into Grade 1, Grade 2 company the last twice. And he was a really good winner at Wynn. I was there that day. He did it in a very good time figure. He was very powerful at the line. That came after a 55-day break. I think he's a better horse than when he first started out for Paul Nicholls off the back of a 245-day break at Hereford. So I wouldn't say that he doesn't go well fresh. I would think that this horse is quite enthusiastic. He wants his own way out in front. He might get that here. It'd be interesting. It'd be a bit of a stab in the dark, to be honest, because I thought it was such a tight race. That Paul Nicholls horse at the top of the market needs to take a significant step forward to defy a mark for 128. So I wouldn't put anyone off playing in the race. But for me, there's nothing real solid to go on, to be honest.
Yeah, very, very trappy and tricky race. Hence why I wanted to go back to you for all that, just to stitch you up, basically. Yeah, but Lucky One then hopefully on a stable switch. So potentially then a quick fire double for the Skelton Yard then for mentions for Daryl. But yeah, difficult to have a strong opinion in that race. So we'll move on to our final scheduled race of the day. This is a 0 to 150 handicap chase for 4-year-olds and over 3 miles with just 7 declared runners, which makes angles into this race that bit trickier to solve. So Andrew, back to you please for our final scheduled race.
Yeah, I like 2 for Gold here for the Kim Bailey yard, a yard that's been in good form. And 2 for Gold, you can back him throughout his career and make a profit. 8 wins from 17 starts. Like Cheltenham I mentioned earlier, one with a very good career strike rate. He tends to thrive midwinter as well. November to February, that 8 from 17 record becomes 8 from 13. And if you only look at his runs in the peak winter period in Class 2 or lower company, it's 7 wins and a 3rd place from 8 starts. That's a fantastic record, and that 3rd place came by a couple of lengths at Kempton when he jumped abysmally in a big field. So I think 2 for Gold's really going to take some stopping here, and I think he's priced accordingly a general 7 to 4 chance. But he's one of the better bets of the weekend, certainly in terms of likelihood of winning.
Yeah, are you concerned about the trip at all for him, or?
I haven't even looked at it. What is it? 2 miles, 3.5, 8?
3, just shy of.
No, I think he'll be absolutely fine. I think he's in the right class level. He's at the right time of year. I think he's got every chance.
Yeah, definitely. So, especially if the rain comes down for him as well, then it's only going to aid his chances there. 2 for Gold at this time of year for Andrew. Daryl, please, yourself.
Yeah, I love Kauto Riko for this.
Ooh.
Outside of the field, Tom Britton's booked Brian Hughes. He's got a 29% strike rate when booking Brian Hughes. Profitable £42 to £1 level stake. This horse is a 10-year-old, but he's been very sparing in the race over the last few years. He's probably had some issues. But he pulled up at Aintree over the national fences. I have no idea what they were thinking of running this horse over the national fences, because his jumping is awful at times.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he was a very good 4th in the 2020 Paddy Power Gold Cup off a mark of 142. He's off a mark of 138 today. He's got a fantastic record when fresh. So in 2019 on return, he finished 3/4 of a length second to Top Notch at 100 to 1 in the Peterborough Chase. We all remember that race.
Yeah.
If you go back the year before, 2018, he made a massive error at the first fence. He just lost all chance. He pulled up that time, but that wasn't him. He had won at Newcastle, fresh 2017. He'd won at Market Race and fresh in 2016. This horse is well handicapped. he'll love this step up in trip to 3 miles. I think he's been staying on over the middle distance, 2.5 miles in so many of his races. He actually got awarded the race when he finished second to Definitely Red, I think. But he's staying on strongly. He was just no match for that horse at that time. But he was miles clear of everything else. And that was on heavy ground over 3 miles. He will have no issue getting this trip today whatsoever. I think he's got a big chance in a race where nothing is really that well handicapped. I don't think 2 for Gold is well handicapped off a mark of 150. The Wolf is making his seasonal return also. He could be in and out. Fidux is probably the most solid option in the race, around 6 to 1. But I just thought, I couldn't believe they put Riko here out the outsider of the field. I think he's got a big chance.
Yes, and never underestimate Riko when he's an outsider of a race. He's always overlooked, this lad, and so he'll pay you back more so than not if you can actually get on him in the right races as well. So like that from Riko in the 3:15. So Daryl, back to you please for anything else from Doncaster.
Oh yes, 12:20. I haven't seen the prices yet though. Stepney Causeway. 4-year-old, lovely 4-year-old, finished behind Edwardstone last time at Warwick, makes his handicap debut off a mark of 135 against many exposed horses in the field, perhaps other than Comister Office for Venetia Williams, but no Charlie Deutsch, who Nugent takes £5 off. Stepney Causeway, yeah, I think he's got a massive chance. He's looks well handicapped, the form is very strong. The only 2 blips in his career have come on the back of breaks. He's fit, fresh, improving, get £6 weight allowance. I don't know what there's not to like about Stepney Causeway in the 12:20.
Yeah, I have no prices either that I can see with any of the firms, but 12:20. Pardon?
No, he won't be odds on.
Pick your price.
I hope he's odds on, because then I'll get a price about mine.
Oh, interesting. Okay, then Andrew. Okay, we've teed that up nicely.
Yeah, this is a horse we mentioned previously, but ahead of the big Newbury meeting the end of November, SAO, SAO for Rebecca Menzies, who was incredibly progressive on deep ground last year. Now, hopefully, there's going to be some more rain around before Saturday. But even if there isn't, he ran a cracker on his comeback at Aintree, finishing second at 10 to 1. And again, you look at the progress he made last year. He was 4th on his comeback, badly needed that. Then he was an unlucky faller at Hexham, went in with every chance. Then he won 3 of his next 4 starts. I mean, he signed off running behind Editor Takeit in the Red Rum handicap chase at Aintree, when just never getting into the race on ground again. That was, arguably too quick for him. I think this is a really progressive chaser, and because he's trained by Rebecca Menzies, he's going to be, underestimated, generally speaking. And I think he's potentially Cheltenham Festival material. I mean, he came down to Newbury last year and he absolutely slaughtered his opponents, taking the absolute mickey. Sorry, I almost said piss then. And, and again, it was a typical Newbury race where you wanted to be on the front end. He's come from off the pace to win it. Really impressed me. He can take a bit of a keen grip, but I thought this is a horse who's got the potential to be sort of 14 to 20 pounds ahead of his current mark. So really interested in Sal here. I haven't seen any prices though. If he's 6 to 4, I don't want to know. If he's 8 to 1, I'm all over him. But Daryl says his pick's going to be odds on, so I'm expecting.
No, he's not.
Bigger,
So
he's odds on to beat yours.
Match bet.
Well, he probably is if they're 6 to 4 and 8 to 1.
have that match bet right now. But you did, to be fair, Mr. Mount, you did say about Sao or Sao, whichever commentator we have this time around, on pronunciation for his name, to watch out for him and how he shaped at Aintree then for his next start and further down this season. So you've kept him on side, you've kept true to your word, and you're siding with him there. So both lads taking each other on then in the 12:20 at Doncaster. So Andrew, back to you for anything from anywhere else.
Just one at Newcastle. There's a good card on Saturday. There's an all-weather a fast-track qualifier over 2 miles. Rainbow Dreamer, Alan King. Loves small fields. Has had 9 runs in his career on the all-weather in fields of 9 or fewer runners. 6 wins, a second, a third and a fourth. So he's got the come-from-behind style that's ideal for Newcastle's Tapeta surface. Not seen any prices. So, I could be tipping a 6 to 4 shot. I could be tipping a 12 to 1 shot. So Rainbow Dreamer, that's the 2:20 at Newcastle on Saturday.
Yep, they say no prices, but Rainbow Dreamer in the 220 at Newcastle. Daryl, yourself, please, for anything from anywhere else.
No prices, but it's definitely worth having a look at the 232 at Hereford. I've been following a form line that a lot of people know about in the column from Chepstow, Witness Protection's novice chase win. It's been working out really, really well. And Can You Call was a massive eye catcher in it, as many were that day. He goes up against Hardy Dessau. So I just want to see what the prices are going to be, because I love Hardy Dessau as well. He was going to play a big hand in the finish at Market Raising before unseating his rider there. And that's a decent form line as well. So I'm waiting to see prices, but that race will be assessed as we go, but it's worth keeping an eye on anyway.
Yes, yeah. But Can You Call that form line to follow in? But as you say, I love Hardy Dessau, 4-year-old over fences. He's a Garlaw of this season for me. Hence why I wish he had gone to the novice chase. That was just, I only had 3 runners in it at Wincanton there before, but he didn't turn up, which was really frustrating. But yes, interesting race nonetheless there for Hereford at 2:32. That is. So that is everything then from the lads. All that is left to do is to get your naps, please. Daryl, your nap of the weekend.
Deyrann the Carjac in the Racing Post Trophy.
Oh,
Trophy or Racing Post Gold Cup now.
Gold Cup. Yeah. It'll change again next year probably anyway. Yeah, Andrew, your nap, please.
It was a toss-up between Guard Your Dreams and Take It Easy. I'm going to go Take It Easy, the 205 at Donny.
Perfect. Yes. And I'm going to take on Daryl there. Oh, no, actually, I'm not. No, I'm not going to take him on. No, I've gone against what I was originally going to go for. I was going to go for that, and then I sort of shook myself and realized, what am I doing? So I'm instead going to the 3:35 at Cheltenham, and I'm going to go for Wynn House. Tricky weekend to have a really strong opinion for a nap, I thought. So I was going to side with Wynn House in the 3:35. So we hope you have enjoyed another week's show, having the team back together again. A few technical issues, but thank you so much for sticking with us. Thanks to the lads for all of their hard work. Thanks to our sponsors, SBK, of course, and we will catch up with you again next week.